All right, Naut Humon, wow.
Wow, good to see you again out here on the East Coast.
We go way back. How long have I known you? I think it was 1992. You came and like grabbed me, and I remember you were like really intense. And you were like, "You don't understand the possibilities of electronic music."
No, the reason I came up to you is because you did understand. There was a record label, Asphodel, started in San Francisco, moved it out here, and I started going to all these concerts out here. And then I would end up coming here 8 to 12 times a year to check out what was going on in the lofts, and you and other people, you know, DJ Olive, everybody, all playing at these gatherings. Until, of course, the New York Times came along and said, hey, you should check this out. And then the whole place became like jammed up. PR and the public news media can really, once they focus on it.
Really? So how do you think that works? Does it change the perception of the music? Does the music change?
The underground nature of it changes.
Right.
Like now, because of the media, just speeding everything up like real quick. Something's out, next day it's on, you know, the concert happens, and then next day it's on YouTube, and then you're jumping into it. Well, in those days, it was things, the media was slower media. Now you have faster media.
And harder to get to media.
And in those days, we had record stores.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, you got to go in. You know,
so is anything underground anymore?
Well, that's a big question. What is underground and all that? And I think the search for it continues, or what people think that is underground. In other words, underneath the media's eye. There's a lot of electronic music today. Some people would say, oh, this is very cold, or it's aloof. Even some of the drone experimental music that we were starting to talk about earlier, it isn't so sexual in nature. You know, it's more like cold and that. And then people want to, you know, late at night, they want to bring in the beat, and they want to bring in that movement factor. And last night I was at Andy Stott, and that room was like jammed, like wall to wall. You couldn't even move in there. But hey, body to body, flesh to flesh, go. You know, it's part of music, it's part of the feeling. And that's part of dub too. Getting into the feeling of it, regardless of what your faders are or the circumstance, but making it felt. So I remember being at a Suicide concert back in the 70s out at Mabuhay Gardens, where all the punk bands were. Suicide just uses keyboards, drum machine, and a vocalist, and that's all they had. And some pretty outrageous subway music.
Amazing guys. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So all the punkers are in the back room. They'd never seen them before. They just come out to San Francisco. And they said, hey, I can do that. I can have a machine, press buttons, and play drums. What's that all about, you know? And the punk rockers were really criticizing. And that's back when there was before laptops and all that. And they were going, well, what's this all about? So then they opened for The Clash and other bands. And then the audience completely boos these guys because it's not The Clash and all that. So actually, Suicide was more punk than the punk band.
Exactly.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And that was a big moment. So that whole perception. Now, laptop culture is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Someone's on stage with a laptop or a mixed board, just like in the old days with your organ, right? Just an evolution of that whole culture. So I have some early photos here on this iPad of different stages of what happened to me over the decades. So we had this place called The Compound, which is on this dirt road, and inside the audience would gather outside. The garage doors would open. The music would already be started. There'd be smoke and strobes and lasers and all this stuff on the inside, and then they gradually walk in. So the concert would already be going on as they entered the space. So we built our own stage. So the idea was not to use clubs, but to do it ourselves. Just do it in your own warehouse and invite people there. And eventually later we got out more publicly, but this is how this thing sort of began. Here's a picture of me with an SMS synthesizer, which is sort of a hybrid synthesizer after working with a Buchla 100 and 200 series. We were into the idea of putting structures on stage. These days you have Daft Punk and Amon Tobin, and they have these big proscenium shows. They're inside a pyramid, or they're inside a box that's being focused on like a screen with a big tableau and all that. So we didn't have all that kind of stuff back then. But what we did was we built giant fences across the screen and pulled out the slats with bright lights coming out, and then behind them would be this sound traffic control tower that you would see here, kind of set up on a stage with fences and monitors and things like that so they could see the video and see kind of what was going on. So even though we were two scary, you might say, for MTV. The Residents, who were on Ralph Records in San Francisco, an underground band that always disguised who they were live, and came and saw the show. And then sure, in one day they said, oh yeah, let's do that. And you can put out a record and go on tour and you can do all this stuff. So that's what we did. We took elements of what we're working on here in the studio and took it out on the road. This is me playing with Marion Amichet in 1991 at Panasonic in Japan. Here it is inside of the Sound Traffic Control Tower in 1984. Inside the electronic tower are all manner of synclaviers, digital synthesis, which was emerging then, along with the analog synthesis, and then filling up the entire room around it with acoustic stuff. Wood, metal, plastic, drums, all kinds of things. These are titanium tubes.
So a mixture of stuff to resonate with.
Yes. In other words, the audience walks into an acoustic environment where you're in the stage. You're not watching someone on a stage. The whole place is like this, right? And they're walking amongst these sounds that these instruments are making. And then we're doing feeds from the acoustic instruments and sometimes processing from the tower too, so they can hear electronified acoustic source, and then things from oscillators and drum boxes and things like that. Drum and bass. Now we have dubstep, and we have all this stuff. I ask this question out to other guys. You go, where's the underground? But I also say, where's the new music that isn't a hybrid of other musics?
Yeah.
To me, drum and bass was one of the last new musics ever to come. It was sample bass. They sped up the beats from the A-man onto everything, all the permutations, like crazy stuff. And to me, it was one of the last of the brand new sounds and music. Dubstep is, garage, two-step, and combined with dub, with more of the low growls and filtrations and, magnifications. But to me, it's still a hybrid medium. Genrefication, a lot of musicians have trouble. Trip hop, what was that? Down tempo, then it became that.
Well, they took trip and they took hop and they put it together.
Right, sure. Well, whatever. Everyone can hybrid these names together, but then certain fundamental things are like rock is still there today, and that you kind of know what that
Unfortunately,
is. It's a band, but now it kind of gets reinterpolated. So genrefication, which a lot of musicians fight, but when you're out there searching on the net or in a record store and you want to find something, a lot of times they have it in sections, and that's kind of the way we learn about stuff.
What are you getting at, man?
What am I getting at? Well, people ask me, not, what do you do? What is this all about? Where is this going? And I say, I'm a man with a movie theater. But it's a pretty messed up movie theater. It's taking that movie theater that we all go to, whether it's a planetarium or it's a space or whatever it is, and thinking of how space and time can work in this environment, but be able to customize it. It's a research and development with the idea of how one wants to work with spatial cinema as an instrument in the way that we've worked for spatial sound for so long, because we do audio-only events. We even do things that don't relate to images on screens at all. So there's a lot of worlds there. So in terms of being not just a man with a camera, an instrument and all that, but being able to work rooms in different kinds of ways, whether it be indoor or outdoor situations, and being able to create events in and out of that, where this might just be a certain aspect of the show or the entire show itself.
Thanks for coming through, man.
All right, excellent.
Watching you.
I put on moisturizer before I left the room, so that might be it.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.